we commissioned at the IPA a survey of independent marketing research firm Dynata, who does a lot of our surveys. I think we've talked about a couple of those over the past episodes. So this was just over 1,000 Australians in a nationally representative sample, and we asked questions about the flag and in relation to the criminalisation of flag burning. And we asked this because flag burning has been taking place, including in Melbourne, by protesters who have also been saying abolish Australia. So we asked, one of the questions here was, do you believe that the burning of the Australian flag should be a criminal offence? So you can agree, disagree, or unsure. So what do you think the share of the total population is that believe burning the flag should be a criminal offence?
50-50?
77%.
Really?
77%.
That would have been old people, though.
Well,
that would have been
so what?
IPA members and Sky After Dark viewers who still like to think there is something to Australia to hold to.
Well, guess what it was for 18 to 24-year-olds? You think it would be pretty low?
You'd think it would be pretty low. You'd think that woke, indoctrinated young people would embrace the burning of the flag as an expression of their freedom and identity.
76% support it. So the nation
support the
criminalisation, not the burning of the flag, the criminalisation of the burning of the flag.
What percentage?
76.
So the same proportion of young people support the criminalisation of the burning of the flag as the general population.
That's right, John.
That's the backlash coming.
That's the backlash here. And not only that, we also asked, do you think that people who burn the flag should face jail time? And 63% of the population said yes. Do you think young people were higher or lower than the nationwide average?
Lower.
Higher by 1 point. So
You're joking.
Within the margin of error, I accept 64%. So it's about the same again. So this argument...
So what does this say?
Well, this says that Australians support the flag. It's something that unites us and brings us together. I think it also shows that this is a line in the sand moment for our country. I would not have, 10 years ago, I would not have commissioned this research. I don't personally support people going to jail for burning the flag, but I do now support the criminalisation of that action. And I would not have supported that 10 years ago, because 10 years ago, who were the kind of people burning the flag? It was some activist on a university campus wanting attention. You go, fine, that's not a threat to our way of life.
We'll ignore you.
We'll ignore you. It doesn't mean anything. Who cares? Just get on with our lives. But it means something different now. And there are no political consequences for this. In fact, there's a permission structure within which this has taken place. Our Prime Minister won't even stand in front of the Australian flag, routinely disrespects it. Jacinta Allen, Premier of Victoria, says burning the flag's deplorable. Well, what are you going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. So I think it's time to criminalise the burning of the flag. What do you think?
No.
Why is that?
I'm still going to hang to the last remnants of liberal democracy in Australia. I am going to argue, and I believe, as uncomfortable as I am with the burning of the flag, as uncomfortable as I am with what is happening to our culture, changing before our eyes, our regard for history, our regard for ourselves and who we are, but I would be deeply uncomfortable with that. It's abhorrent, it's deplorable, but this is the debate. Through thousands of years of history, I don't believe that we defend the way of life that we enjoy by doing these sorts of things. As difficult as it is, we don't support liberal democracy by undermining liberal democracy, and this is what I think it would be.
But I think liberal democracy is already dying, and I think that because of this reason, which is that liberal democracy is partly based upon having a set of institutions, our democracy, rule of law, legal institutions that take us all as equals.
And shared assumptions.
Shared assumptions, shared understandings of the world. And it provides a shell within which we can go about our lives within a given set of boundaries.
And that we can live together.
We can live together. But you cannot be tolerant towards intolerance. And that is the potential failure of liberal democracy. So I don't think that we can keep going down this path and providing this neutral framework of saying, well, it's all okay, it's all fine, everybody has these rights, when clearly there is a admittedly small but nonetheless very influential minority in our society that are completely undermining the values of liberal democracy.
which they are, and I think the values of liberal democracy in Australia were undermined fundamentally, as we've talked about, or attempted to be undermined, when the Labor government pursued the idea that race should be in the Constitution and different people should have different political rights according to their race, and 60% of Australians said no. But I am, as you can tell, I'm very uneasy about not just the principle of criminalising and perhaps imprisoning people who burn the flag, but the precedent that it sets, the tit-for-tat process that it then leads to. I would like to try everything else first, and there's something else about criminalising the burning of the flag, something else about criminalising so-called hate speech. That doesn't change what people think. It doesn't change what people believe. We have a much bigger challenge about how some Australians now think about their country, how they think about other Australians, and how they would seemingly, coming back to where we started, seemingly accept the support of a terrorist organisation. I think Australia's challenges are fundamental. They are deeper. They are deep-seated. I don't think this is the way to do it. And I've got another argument against criminalising the burning of the flag is that's almost trivialises the challenge of the problem. And to do that is to say, we can fix this country with laws. That's the same approach that says we can, and I wrote about this in the Fin Review article, that's the same approach that says, if we make offending people on the basis of their religion a crime, as Chris Minns did after, one day of debate in Parliament, that will fix the problem. No, it won't. All it does is it exacerbates the problem. It brings to the legal process entities from overseas. And I can just see the cause célèbre of the first person burning the flag in the Sydney Opera House forecourt off to jail.
You make a good point. And I think one of the I guess, positives out of all of these issues we're having is that we're having these debates about important issues. And I think it's forcing Australians for the first time in a long time to think about what does it actually mean to be an Australian? What kind of country do we want to live in? And so if we as a country are able to get through this, we will be a better country for it because we've had to go through these debates. And I think every now and again you have to relitigate these arguments. And that was one of the benefits of the Voice debate was it was a single issue, a fundamental issue. And we learned Australians had to think about, why do I believe this? Well, because I believe...
Why do I believe in equality?
Why
do I believe that everyone gets the same rights regardless of their race or background or ethnicity?
So that's, I think, the positive that can be taken.
And then, and that is funny, you should use that terminology. So the terminology I love to use is from Ronald Reagan's inauguration speech as governor, California. Every generation has to fight for its freedoms again. And I think we've talked about this. The idea that we think the battle for freedom of speech is won, the battle for freedom of religion is won, the battle for liberal democracy, for equality, for tolerance is won. No, every generation has to fight it again and again and again. It is never, never won. And conservative parties around the world are discovering it's never won. And that's why I hold people like J.D. Vance in such high regard because he understands this.
Yeah, he does.